TikTok star Dominique McShain has died aged just 21 after a devastating year-long battle with incurable colon cancer. Her passing marks the end of a courageous journey that touched hundreds of thousands of people around the world who followed her online as she faced terminal illness with rare vulnerability, humor, and grace. A native of New Zealand, Dominique first learned she had colon cancer in April 2024. She was only 20 years old at the time, a young woman with dreams as big as her heart. She had aspired to become a psychologist to help troubled teens, and was actively pursuing a degree in psychology at college. Her life was on a promising path, filled with ambition, compassion, and a desire to make a difference. But that path took a sharp and cruel turn when she began experiencing persistent symptoms: fatigue, blood in her stool, and irregular bowel movements. Initially dismissing them as minor, perhaps stress-related, Dominique soon found herself sitting across from doctors delivering a diagnosis that would forever alter her world. Cancer had not only taken root in her colon, but it had already metastasized to her liver, a grim sign that the disease was in an advanced stage. Doctors offered a prognosis of anywhere from 1 to 5 years, though they warned the future was uncertain. True to form, Dominique met the news with courage. She decided to document her journey on TikTok, where her following eventually swelled to nearly 200,000, an audience that became a digital support group, lifting her spirits and holding her up through some of the most difficult days of her life. Her videos were not sugar-coated, they were raw and honest, often heartbreaking but always brave. She opened up about the pain, the fear, the treatments, and the emotional toll that terminal illness took on her and her loved ones. Throughout her journey, Dominique never lost her sense of perspective. In an update shared just weeks before her passing, she wrote a message that silenced many of her followers with its raw honesty and emotional depth. On April 6, she announced, "I want to be direct with you all. This will be my final update on my cancer journey until I have passed away." She revealed that doctors had told her she had only days or weeks left to live, a revelation she delivered with astonishing composure. "My life may be short," she said, "but I genuinely think I've squeezed every bit out of it." Despite everything, Dominique expressed profound gratitude. She spoke of winning the lottery in terms of her family, friends, and partner, Sean Susan. These were the people who held her up when her body and spirit began to falter, who would 10,000% donate a liver if it meant giving her a fighting chance. Her community of love was her safety net, her reason to smile even in the darkest hours. And that sense of connection, both offline and online, remained a recurring theme in her updates. Sean was a constant presence throughout her ordeal. Couple got engaged on her 21st birthday, just a month after her diagnosis, and later tied the knot on July 12, 2024. Their wedding, a celebration of love under the shadow of mortality, was shared online with heartfelt images and clips from their ceremony and honeymoon in Thailand. It was Dominique's way of reclaiming joy, of participating in a life event that cancer had tried to steal. She often spoke about how getting married made her feel like she had seized back a sliver of normalcy from the disease that had robbed her of so many future dreams. As her illness progressed, Dominique's condition worsened. Chemotherapy, which she had endured for 7 months, had to be stopped when her liver began to fail. Her skin and eyes turned a painful yellow, a symptom of jaundice brought on by the organ's collapse. She transitioned into end-of-life care, spending her final days in and out of hospitals and hospice facilities, focusing entirely on comfort and pain management. In one of her last video updates, Dominique shared that she had grown numb, that she found it difficult to cry even though the situation was dire. Her tone was reflective but tinged with surreal disbelief. "It's crazy to think that I got given 1 to 5 years originally, and I'm not even a year yet," she said. The rapid progression of her illness had stunned even her doctors. Dominique's reflections in those final days were filled with a mixture of hope, surrender, and spiritual clarity. She often imagined heaven as a place where she could finally be free from the relentless pain. She envisioned herself running, breathing freely, unburdened by tubes, medications, and the agonizing limitations of a failing body. "Though it will hurt to leave you all behind," she said, "please know that I will finally be out of pain and I will be at peace." Her journey spoke to a broader trend that is alarming the medical community: The rise of early-onset colorectal cancer in people under 50. Dominique's case was one of many that are reshaping the way we understand this disease, often thought to affect only older adults. Her story became part of a growing conversation about the need for increased awareness, earlier screenings, and more aggressive diagnostic protocols for young adults presenting with symptoms. Her voice, though silenced far too soon, will continue to echo in those conversations, serving as a powerful reminder of what's at stake. Through it all, Dominique never stopped trying to give meaning to her pain. Her social media posts weren't just a personal diary, they were a source of education and empowerment for others. She urged her followers to listen to their bodies, to push for tests when something felt wrong, and to cherish the small, beautiful moments in life. She embodied grace in suffering, teaching those around her how to face death with a kind of fearlessness that few can muster. Her words, her spirit, and her strength left a mark on the world. Her final moments were spent surrounded by family, friends, and her husband Sean, people who had become warriors in her fight. They held her hand, whispered memories, and reminded her of the lives she had touched. When the moment came, it was quiet. A soft passing, like the last flicker of a candle that had burned so brightly for such a short time. Dominique McShain's life, though tragically brief, was an extraordinary testament to courage, love, and the will to make every moment count. Her legacy lives on not only through her videos and posts, but in the hearts of the many who found strength, healing, and inspiration in her story. She may be gone, but the light she sparked continues to shine. Rates of disease in people under 35 nearly doubled from 1990 to 2019, from 21,000 to 41,000, while deaths rose by 25%. Colon cancer begins in the inner lining of the colon and grows into the deeper levels of cells before breaching the colon wall and invading nearby blood vessels and the lymph system. When cancer cells break off and enter the bloodstream, they enter the liver with the blood that drains from the colon. Once there, cells can escape immune detection and take hold in liver tissue. Tumor cells steal nutrients meant for liver tissue, hijack immune cells, and begin to create durable shields around tumors to survive attacks. The start of last year, Dominique began experiencing bouts of diarrhea and constipation. Then she saw blood in her stool, a common symptom of cancer. Other common symptoms included stomach pain, anemia, and changes in bowel habit. McShain was always fatigued to the point where she was not taking in any of her professor's lectures. "I'd have a normal night's sleep but then sleep another 5 to 6 hours every single day," she said. She added, "I also started to develop severe abdominal pain and I also lost my appetite severely. I was just not feeling well." She waited 3 to 4 weeks before going to the doctor, fearing that if she went to the hospital before her symptoms got worse, doctors would be more likely to brush off her concerns, chalking it up to normal constipation that can be easily resolved with over-the-counter treatments. Eventually, she underwent a blood test, and while her general markers were typical, ruling out myriad issues such as kidney disease or anemia, her liver blood samples showed abnormally high amounts of enzymes and proteins indicating organ damage. She had to rush to Christchurch Hospital for an ultrasound, which revealed several lumps in her colon. McShain continued to feel unwell and ultimately had a biopsy, which confirmed that she had colon cancer and only a year to 5 left to live.